Industrial design is a process of design applied to products that are to be manufactured through techniques of mass production. Industrial designers work to improve the function, value and aesthetics of products, like the bottle you drink your water out of, the pen you write with and the car you drive. Today on 48 Hours, we look at the career of an industrial designer. 48 Hours, own your future. Brendon is an industrial design student who wants some direction in his career. He loves spending time with his family, watching soccer with his brother, and also works with his dad in his construction business. He made time to tell us more about his dreams about becoming an industrial designer. Let's meet him.
My hobbies are I just love relaxing with my friends, playing some soccer, being around my family. And my interest is that I love designing, CADing. I'm an artist by nature, so it all falls together. I developed an interest in industrial design back in high school when I took subjects as EGD and visual arts. These are practical arts subjects, and I really enjoyed doing them. These are my favorite subjects. And when UJ came for an expo, I did my research in the Department of Industrial Design, and I decided that I would love to do this as a career. The modules that I'm currently doing right now, engineering, practice, digital media, and design studies. Those are more of where we look at economical challenges that, like in South Africa, that are based in South Africa or Western culture, and we help to see how we can solve those problems and how, if they do come about, even in our own economy, how we are able to solve them, basically. Industrial design has opened my world to great things. I'm able to understand the importance of the smaller things, simple details that are needed to bring out the best in products. It's underrated, but most people don't really understand how it actually influences us every day in every aspect. Well, today I would like to learn how it is working with other people in the work industry, and just understanding the pressure that comes with all this process of sketching, CADing, all of this process, and just really seeing what the outcomes are. I've produced a variety of things, furniture-wise, things like tape dispensers, jewelry stands. Technological-wise, we have also ventured into the nanobot industry, where we create nanobot features, microscopic nanobot features that go into the human body, and they enhance the human brain, the human eye, or even take away certain diseases, cancer, you know. Well, now I'm heading to see my mentor, Ricky, who owns a business called Aesthetic Design. I want to make a good impression. It's a life-changing opportunity. It's going to open up a lot of doors for me. I hope it goes well. Can't wait. Let's go.
Ricky's fascination with Lego led him to his passion for industrial design. Ricky believes that design is a form of communication. He has experience in all fields of design and is the lead industrial designer and managing director at Aesthetic.
Hey Brendon, nice to see you, young man. How are you doing?
How are you?
Good, thanks yourself, man. Come through, let's get going with the talk, eh?
Cool. Thanks for mentoring me. I'm happy to be here.
Very nice to have you over.
What work do you do here?
Basically, we have an industrial design company that focuses on creating products for mass production. We obviously do a full design process to come up with new products for the market. We work closely with investors and obviously people with ideas, and help them develop their products to make them a reality.
Exactly what are you responsible?
I am the lead designer of my company.
So what personality does one need to be an industrial designer?
Someone that's very passionate about what they do or what they want to achieve with their career. You need to be quite resilient. There's a lot of opinions that go down based on what you design.
Okay, so what pressure does industrial design come with?
One of the big things is obviously judgment. It's important to understand that judgment is sometimes critical. Time is very critical. We don't always have all the time in the world to design something. And then obviously project management is quite important, making sure that things happen at the right time.
So how did you get to this point in your career, Ricky?
graduated university. Fortunately for me, my VAC work during my BTEC year led me into my first position, working for an automotive company. And then, I just always had the passion to eventually, branch out one day and have my own consultancy.
So Ricky, I'm so excited to be here. Can you show me some work?
Yes, of course. Let's go. Let's do this.
Let's get to it then.
Coming up after the break, Brendon gets to experience what it's like to work in a factory, and he completes a task for his mentor, Ricky. Welcome back. Before the break, we met Brendon, who's passionate about becoming an industrial designer. We teamed him up with lead designer Ricky from Aesthetic, who took Brendon under his wing and is about to give him some real-life experience working in a factory. Let's catch up with them.
What I'm doing today is basically explain to him what industrial design is about.
Okay.
And I'd like to just show him a little bit more on the technical side of things, what's involved with actually making an injection mold.
Okay, well that's good. It's actually, this is a perfect part to show you, because we got it from a young industrial designer, and some of the things he designed in weren't going to work for manufacturing, so I changed it, sent it back over, he signed it off, and now we're going to go into manufacturing. The part that the customer requires is this, and now for productivity's sake, we take it into 4 cavities like this, so it makes 4 of the same part every time the mold opens and closes. I set it out like this, and I do a mold flow to tell me how the part will react under molding conditions, so that I can decide how I'm going to design the tool around this. For quoting purposes, we start like this just to give the customer a quick rundown of what he can expect to pay. So this is just a 2D rough draft of my mold, to which now it's in a 3D. Now it's in the 3D environment, you can see that.
Okay, so at this stage now, we've just come from the tool design department, and basically what you saw on the actual screen, we exported G codes and numeric codes for the actual machine. So what we do from that stage is we take those codes, we input them into the machine. Okay, we load the steel we need onto the machine, and then the machine actually CNC machines that billet of steel into the physical part. So as you see here now, we're actually doing the female, then there's actually a male reciprocal part that gets put into that and puts into a mold to actually injection mold that piece of plastic that we need at the end.
So how long would this take?
So a mold of this size could take anything from a day to 3 days to machine, depending on the complexity. Size doesn't always determine the time, the complexity determines the time. Okay, so we're at the assembly section now of the mold making. So you saw the machining process earlier. This is now where we're actually assembling all the ejecting pins, putting the bolster together with the cavities that have been machined. So essentially we're taking the male part of the mold and the female part of the mold and assembling them so that they can now be assembled on the machine at the next stage, where you have a fixed side of your mold and you have a movable side of your mold. The reason we have all of this assembly is because a part needs to be released from a mold. So we can't have it stuck inside. It needs to be able to move so these parts can fall out. So that's essentially what they're busy doing here now. So you'll see the pins, they're just sliding in right now, ejector pins. That's part of the whole process. From here now, we're going to go through to the actual machines and go watch how these things work in action.
Okay, cool. Let's get to that then.
Okay, so we're here now by Edward. Edward is the manufacturing specialist, production manager of this facility. So we can basically see that this is obviously being molded at the moment. And I'll let Edward explain this a little bit more to you on actually what happens at this stage. Edward, can you please...
So basically what is happening in the machine here, we've got the pellets that we call material or resins that go into the barrel. The barrel has got elements that heat up the material so that it can plunge that material molten into the mold. So inside the mold, the material gets cooled up, and form the particular part that we need to form. For example, we now forming this particular component here. So it takes a little bit of time inside the mold, which then shapes and cools. Then the mold opens up and ejects the finished product.
And then the cycle happens again and again, and it just continues.
Continuously.
So the goal with injection molding is, because it's high volume, is that we want it to never end. That product must just keep going and going and going.
Well, I was excited. The setting was different from what I've experienced. I really enjoyed the pressure that comes with working in a factory with different characters and people, and what it takes to run it. And it really caught my attention, and it's pretty good.
Sure, so Brendon, that's a day in the office for me. So what did you think?
I think it was good, but quite hectic. I wish it's something that we could do at university level. It's a great experience. I think everybody should experience it. It was amazing. I learned a lot today. Got to see a different side of the industrial design, instead of just sitting in class, being in the field. Yeah, it was amazing. I really enjoyed it. Thanks.
One of the tasks that I'd like you to look at is creating a USB device that runs off Wi-Fi. So not your typical product, not your typical USB drive. Just from a design process point of view, I'd like you to start off with a little bit of sketching, possibly just some hand sketches, explore some ideas, get familiar with what you want to do, open up your hand, be creative, be passionate about what you do, and come up with what you can. Okay, so I'm going to leave you to it, and I'll come back a little bit later.
Cool. The task was actually exciting. I was actually excited about it because it's something that's USBs are just normal things that people use every day. It's really something that I think for the future will really be exciting and people actually catch on to.
He's extremely passionate about what he does, and that he really wants to learn and obviously make a success of his career, which I really admire.
It's quite a basic USB look to it, with time, but I think it works, it looks good.
Yeah, no, it's very chic, clean. Yeah. You've met the brief quite nicely there, so well done. Well done.
Okay, it's the end of my first day at 48 hours, and I'm feeling good. I think I have to process this, but I think I'm heading in the right direction, and I think this is the career for me.
Coming up after the break, Brendon meets the father of industrial design in South Africa, Brian Steinoble. He pitches an amazing concept to him, which Brian latches onto. Welcome back. Before the break, we met Brendon, whose passion for industrial design is second to none. We teamed him up with mentor Ricky, who showed him the ins and outs of working as an industrial designer. Now he gets the opportunity to meet Brian Steinoble, who has worked around the globe creating designs and products for world-renowned brands. First, let's catch up with Brendon about his first day on the job.
I've had an amazing first day with 48 hours and a lot to think about in regards to my career. But just when I thought that it couldn't get any better, 48 hours hooked me up to Brian Steinoble from the Steinoble Design. And, he's regarded as the father of industrial design in South Africa. I'm so excited, I can't wait to meet him. Let's get to it.
48 hours went behind the scenes to give our candidate the lowdown on who he's about to meet.
My name is Brian Steinoble. My middle name is Arthur, so my brand is Art Steinoble. but we're sustainable design. This is an industrial design company which I've been doing for 40 years globally, but based here in Bryanston and to a degree in Austria. And we design products globally for the consumer market, medical, mining, children's toys, any type of industry. We design and develop products. We work with inventors from inception. If an inventor's got a good idea, we can turn it into reality. And I developed an interest in industrial design unwittingly when I was a child. Because I say unwittingly because industrial design is applied art. So I loved art from a very young age. So 51 years later now, I'm still doing it. My very first job was designing watches. There's no use having a one-day wonder. You know, you've got to design good stuff that has longevity. So that's one of the challenges of design, is to achieve simplicity, but with great depth and meaning behind it. It's expected of a designer to instantaneously put decent solutions into the process. You've got to deliver as a designer, and it's got to be fresh and not copying anything. Balancing a demanding profession like industrial design with family and children is somewhat of a balancing act. Although design, which in my case required a lot of traveling, and I've traveled extensively, as much as possible I did include my family in some of those travels. Certainly in the December period, I would have a lot of meetings in Europe while on vacation, so to speak. So the first examination a young person wanting to get into industrial design is, first to say, are you a very talented, not necessarily super talented, but do you have a leaning towards art, and your ability in art needs to be fairly proficient. That's the first qualifying factor. Bottom line, make sure you're a good artist.
Now that we know more about Brian, let's hope this gives Brendon a leg up with his pitch.
Hey, Brendon.
Hey, Brian.
Good to meet you.
How are you?
Come through, man. Let's go speak some design.
Thanks. So Brian, I'd like to thank you for making time for me, being here, and I hope that I learn a lot from you. You have a great wealth of experience.
Pleasure to have you here.
Thanks. What motivated you to start your own company?
Oh, it wasn't even a question in my mind. I've never earned a salary check in my life, quite frankly. I started in first year consulting and managed to pick up some quite interesting stuff. So I think to be a designer, you automatically, to a degree, have to be an entrepreneur and an inventor. Not to be confused, there's a big difference between a lot of things in design. Arts and crafts is not design. Yeah. Industrial design is a specialized form of design. Hardly anybody understands it. As a designer, you've got to be many things, and certainly it's very advisable to be an entrepreneurial, spirited person. We co-invent for clients. An invention comes in and we expect it to develop it for the client or the inventor, which is great. So, in typical African spirit, I think Africa has a wonderful spirit of invention, inventive spirit. And, to embrace those inventions and then co-invent it into a design for commercialization, that's what we do as designers, and you'll be doing it for the rest of your life, I hope.
So what are the challenges that they come about, when running your own businesses?
The challenges in design, it's all challenges. You're facing a million decisions a day.
Yeah.
A lot's expected of a designer. A big brand in the UK spent £60 million developing one hairdryer. So that's what it takes. So that's a challenge to be in that position where you've got to deliver way more than the client can even understand, or what he needs himself. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, you need to have a good attorney at your side, and a good accountant and auditor at your side. Those are two fundamentals, because we're not trained in that, and you can come unstuck in that area, and then your design's got to be world class if you're going to survive in design. So the challenge is to keep on pace technologically. We invested always heavily in technology, and we pioneered.
So meeting Brian Steenhobo today was truly an amazing experience for me, and I got to meet a true legend of the game himself. And I was very excited, motivated just by being with him. And I got to meet someone who was someone who's an intellectual, someone who's truly inspirational, and he's quite raw with his words, but it's something that I truly admire about him. So Brian, I have a pitch that I would like to show you, and I think it's a futuristic idea that will really help forward-thinking people. And I'd really like to show you. Would you be interested?
I definitely have to. I would love to see it.
Okay, cool. Let's get to it then.
Okay.
Okay, so Brian, what I'm about to show you right now, it's probably the next biggest thing in technology, you know? I introduced to you nanotech, or what I'd rather call it, the tech eye. Nanotech is basically, it's the creation of microscopic robotic features that are, distributed in the markets to improve the human, life, ranging from the medicine industry, agriculture industry, name it. So I came up with the concept regarding the human eye. So I have an ad for you here, and the tech eye itself. This concept basically, if you look at how the sun's UV rays affect our eyes on a daily basis without us even noticing it, and the long hours that we spend staring at the TV, our phones, and our computers, and how all of this contributes in deteriorating of our eye, over time, and as you grow older, that weakens. I came up with the concept of, let's enhance the human eye through zooming, right? Zooming 10 times at a high rate, through data analysis, doing at the same time. Imagine the way that you see in the afternoon, just as good as the way you see at night. It's truly remarkable, right? So how about if we can, just improve that, How about if, even though it's so complex, how about if we can improve, then go a step forward? It'll change everything, People are afraid of being held at gunpoint or a knife being held at them, But removing all of this will change the meaning of the human existence. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, I think it's totally doable if you think of future self-healing technologies that are really doing medicine. So, Brendon, as a potential future joint venture project, what would be in it for Arts Downable as a company in terms of your vision?
Well, with someone like you with your wealth of experience and, you know a lot of people, right? This could really sell. So let's think about the way, like your design specifically. You're an innovative person who thinks for the future, and you have a different way of thinking, right? This is totally a different way of thinking. Marketing, I don't think it'll really be a problem.
Brendon's idea was actually very mature for a first-year student. He has a vision there which coincidentally does align with our opinions of visionary, futuristic developments in design.
We've almost come to the end of a jam-packed 48 hours, but we'd like to do something that makes life just a wee bit better for Brendon.
So Brendon, thanks for sharing your great visionary idea. I think it's really on cue. I think your work for a first-year student is exceptional, I must tell you. I'm very impressed. I'd like to offer you, in your next holiday back, a 2-week period of coming here and getting to grips with some real design with us. So you're invited if you'd like to take it up, and let's get that idea cooking into reality in the next foreseeable future, But thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Pleasure.
It's a life-changing opportunity for me, and I'm really honored to be. I was really honored to be here today, and thank you very much. And also thank you to 48 Hours. You guys have made this a dream that I could have never imagined, and yeah, I'm really grateful, guys. Thanks.
If you want to be part of the 48-hour experience, contact us on our social media page. If you're interested in more careers, make sure to go to our YouTube page and get inspired.